NBC staffer is afraid to go to cover the Winter Olympics in South Korea in case they get nuked by Kim Jong-un. NBC staffers are afraid to travel to South Korea to cover the Winter Olympics because they are worried they will get nuked by Kim Jong-un. While the games are usually an event reporters would be clamoring to cover, the hostilities on the Korean Peninsula have been enough to dissuade journalists from wanting to make the trip. The upcoming PyeongChang Olympic Games will be held 40 miles south of the demilitarized zone separating South Korea from North Korea and is less than 200 miles from Pyongyang. A source told Page 6, they usually all want to sign up for the Olympics, but they're afraid to get nuked. And if the staffers do decide to stay at home, it appears the network will be scrambling to find reporters to fill in the slots. Another said, if NBC News employees have concerns about attending, they are not required to go, as was the policy with the Rio Summer Olympics in 2016 and Zika fears. The Winter Olympics have been shrouded in controversy ever since it was announced they would take place in the shadow of Kim Jong-un's hermit nation. Yesterday the Games were dragged through the mud once more for its decision to ban Russia from competing. The IOC banned Russia on Tuesday from the 2018 PyeongChang Winter Games after evidence emerged of an unprecedented systematic manipulation of the anti-doping system. Rattled by rising tensions with North Korea, South Korea is taking extra measures to try to ensure the safety of the 2018 Winter Games, including setting up a crack weapons team and doubling the number of troops. The Games take place next February in the mountainous resort town of PyeongChang, just 50 miles from the heavily fortified border with North Korea. They come after a series of missile and nuclear tests show the North making rapid advances in its weapons program, and as inflammatory rhetoric between Pyongyang and Washington stirs up concerns about another conflict on the Korean Peninsula. Seoul's defense ministry will deploy some 5,000 armed forces personnel at the Games, double the 2,400 on duty during the 2002 World Cup, which South Korea co-hosted with Japan, as well as investing $17.6 million in security for the event. A new special weapons and tactics team has also been created to guard against terrorism and assassination attempts. It comes the day South Korea flexed its military muscles by parading some of its major weapon systems to celebrate the country's 69th Armed Forces Day in the face of North Korea's brinkmanship. PyeongChang's organizing committee for the 2018 Games, PyeongChang, is also selecting a private cybersecurity company to guard against a hacking attack from the North, tender documents show. The committee is seeking to fast-track the selection as tensions rise in the wake of South Korea's controversial deployment of the U.S. THAAD anti-missile system, and as North Korean leader Kim Jong-un tests weapons at an unprecedented rate. Cyber threats have increased due to external factors such as the THAAD deployment and recent North Korean missile launches, the committee said in the document. The committee will make all-out efforts to ensure the PyeongChang Olympics are the safest ever, it said. We strongly believe we can host the Olympics successfully as we have invested a lot and prepared well for cybersecurity, it said in a statement. South Korea has blamed the North for a series of hacking attempts in the last few years, including a 2013 cyber attack against South Korean banks and broadcasters that froze computer systems for more than a week. Pyongyang denied any responsibility. While South Korea faces unique challenges with its hostile and nuclear-armed neighbor, the level of threats and security to counter them have escalated globally since South Korea last hosted a major international sporting event. The PyeongChang is hiring a private security contractor, stipulating the firm should be capable of running around 500 personnel to operate X-ray screening each day during the event, a separate document shows. It has earmarked $20 billion won, $17.6 million, for the screening security measures and another $1.3 billion won for the cybersecurity protection, according to the documents. An official from the National Intelligence Service, South Korea's spy agency, is in charge of security operations, working with the government's anti-terrorism center, the organizing committee's spokeswoman said. South Korea has also created a new special weapons and tactics team to guard against terrorism around the Games, Asia's fierce Winter Olympics outside Japan. Jin Jung-hyeon, a police inspector from the SWAT team, said, "We will search Olympic venues to check for bombs, protect athletes and visitors, and guard against any attempts to assassinate key figures." In late August, the PyeongChang held a two-day briefing with major Olympic sponsors including McDonald's Corp and Coca-Cola Co. to talk about the measures being put in place, according to a government statement. It gave them a look at emergency evacuation facilities during the briefing, though further details were not disclosed. While some observers view Pyongyang's threats as bluster, others point to instances of North Korean aggression during the 2002 World Cup and ahead of the 1988 Seoul Olympics as reasons to be concerned. In June 2002, as South Korea prepared to play Turkey in the playoff for third place at the World Cup, North Korean patrol boats crossed the disputed maritime border and exchanged fire with South Korean vessels, killing 6 South Korean sailors. In November 1987, just 9 months before South Korea was set to host the Summer Games in Seoul, North Korean agents detonated a bomb on Korean Air Flight 858, killing all 104 passengers and 11 crew. One of the agents later told investigators the order had come from North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and one of the aims had been to frighten international athletes and visitors from attending the Seoul Olympics. Other Olympics have also been affected by violence, most notably the killing of 11 Israeli athletes by Palestinian militants at the 1972 Munich Games. Mexican police and military killed hundreds of civilians during a protest just days before the Mexico City Olympics in 1968.